who's trained guys like Marlon Starling, and of course Virgil Hill, the light heavyweight, former light heavyweight champion of the world.
We see Freddie at least twice a month.
Freddie, of course, was a former pro fighter involved in some very exciting fights.
Right hand from Toney, and then he follows it up with a left.
And you see how when he missed that jab there, his left hand was laying out there on Adolpho's shoulder, so he turned him. So he just turned him a little bit just to make sure Adolpho wasn't set to punch. That's a wily move. Subtle, but very, very smart. See, this is where Washington, he's the bigger guy. He's been a light heavyweight and a cruiserweight his whole career. He's in there with a guy who's a built-up or a blown-up middleweight. Well, this is where Washington, when he's inside, has to go to the body, use his weight, use his size a little bit. Doesn't figure to be able to outbox Toney. Inside is where he should take advantage of being the bigger guy. Go to the body.
With all the subtle skills that you referred to that Toney possesses, the slipping, the turning, being able to fight flat-footed, so on and so forth, you just wonder if he's able to keep the weight under control, how good he could be.
Well, it's not just about all the talent, all those things. Part of it is about having character, having discipline, having a work ethic, having a proper attitude. That's as important as speed, power, and anything else.
Toney scoring on the inside and smothering Washington's punches.
Some work here to the body. Sneaks that left hook right in between the elbow. But watch at the end here. He throws a nice combination, keeps Adolpho not set, and then look how he turns him. The left hand's around the shoulder of Adolpho, and he just keeps it there and he turns Adolpho where he can't punch. That's experience. That's clever.
Round number 4 underway.
There's Toney switching southpaw.
Another guy's been hurt. I mean, Toney's just right now outboxing Washington in subtle ways. But he's landing more punches and he's throwing more each round.
You would figure that Adolpho, as we said before, the bigger guy, not quite as slick, not quite as good defensively as Toney, and not as quick as Toney, would want to be inside going to the body.
Don't wait on this guy.
Or what he could do, actually he has another option, Bob, as I think about it. He could throw his punches and get out and take advantage of Toney sometimes admiring his work too much, admiring his defense, out-hustle Toney a little bit. But he's got to do one or the other. He can't just lay there like that. He's got to be working inside, or he can get off his punches on the outside and get out. Let Toney play defense, but then not be there for Toney to play offense. You can take advantage of Toney's defense sometimes. He's so into making you miss, like now. And he's not throwing back. After you throw, get out. Don't let him throw back.
Now, Toney's the one who scores, and Washington is doing less in this round.
If Toney does anything defensively wrong, and he's real good defensively, sometimes he makes too many moves. Instead of making a move and bang, taking advantage of it, and make too many. And that gives Adolpho a chance to get punches off and get out before something comes back. There goes a mouthpiece. I believe it's Adolpho Washington's mouthpiece, but we'll find out in a second. The referee's going to wait for a low in the action to give it back. Toney doing good work inside here, working that uppercut. He's letting Washington walk into uppercuts. He's walking forward. Toney's giving a little ground like that and throwing punches. That's smart. Don't push against the guy. Just let him fall into punches.
Now they'll put Washington's mouthpiece in. They'll rinse it off.
And there was some damage done while that mouthpiece was out, because you could see the blood in the mouth of Washington. So Toney took advantage of that.
You mentioned that sometimes Toney defensively makes one move too many, but Washington's not making him pay.
No, he's not, Bob. Go ahead, gentlemen. See, right here, Washington, you would think has Toney where he wants him, but not so. He's not doing anything. He's just laying in there. He's not going to the body. And Toney's real smart. He's getting his head on either side and working counters.
Well, Washington is making this easy for James Toney through 4 rounds.
You don't need to tell Toney if a man's leaning forward, bring that uppercut up. Well, there it is.
Well, right now, James Toney is able to pick apart Adolpho Washington through the first 4 rounds.
He's just faster, he's smarter, he's slicker.
He's better.
Yeah, he is. And more experience, even though Adolpho is no slouch when it comes to experience. Former cruiserweight champion of the world. On his 4th try, fought for the world title 3 times before that. In very close contests, but unsuccessful bids.
Punches in the last round. Toney outlanded Washington 33-9. Washington only landed 5 punches through the first 2 minutes of the last round. Take it to the corner of James Toney and the aforementioned Freddie Roach in the corner. And Freddie, so far, it appears that James can basically do whatever he wants to do right now. He's been able to move quite effectively and really is controlling this fight. How do you see it from your corner?
Yeah, I agree. James is fighting a good fight out there. I just want to see him use the jab a little bit more and dictate the pace of this fight with the jab. I think he'd be more effective with it. Because he's trying to wait until the counter a little bit too much instead of making it happen with the jab.
Freddie, it seems like James, you say, could beat him either way, inside or outside. You would think he's the smaller guy originally and the faster guy. He'd do it even better on the outside. Do you care which way he does it, on the inside or the outside? Would you rather him be on the outside?
I'd like to see him on the outside a little bit more, yeah. Just picking this guy apart and not trading shots with him. He's letting Washington get through with the jab too much.
Yeah, he's the faster guy, Toney. I mean, it seems like he has even more his way on the outside. Maybe gives Washington just a small chance being a bigger guy on the inside.
I agree. That's why I'm trying to get James to use that jab a little bit more, be more effective with it, and use his counter shots off that. You see, when he's behind the jab, he throws his combinations much better. When he's inside, he's kind of crowding himself a little bit.
Are you surprised that he's as sharp as he is, considering he's only fought once in the previous 2 years?
No, not at all. James has been looking good in the gym. I was away for a while with Johnny Tapia, and my gym called me. He was training twice a day there. Something sparked James Toney to get serious again. I don't know what it was, but I'm sure happy he's there because he's the most talented fighter I've ever seen.
All right, Freddie, thank you very much. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Freddie Roach in the corner of James Toney. I know Max will pick up on this, but Freddie Roach, look-alike Elvis Costello, musician. And right now, James Toney just controlling Washington and just slicker, smarter in the ring. And through the first 5 rounds, at least according to Teddy and I, we have it a shutout. Let's check in with Brian and Max, guys.
Guys, thank you, and good comments there from Freddie Roach, former fighter himself. And I see something different, too. I think very impressed so far with Toney. When he's on his toes, good things happen, and he seems to be in very good shape. I think he's right. He's ready now for something, and it's showing in the ring.
Roach is a great trainer, first of all. We haven't mentioned that yet enough on this there. He's a great trainer, and he used to be a very exciting fighter. But, you know, this reminds me of when James Toney chopped down Prince Charles Williams and chopped down Iran Barkley. He's just a joy to watch, but you know, for a purist, but also just for a casual fan, because he's just a pleasure to watch. And what I can think when watching him here, he's in shape now, but he could be in even better shape. And how dare he not come into shape for every fight and deny us the privilege of watching him perform his craft.
Impressive performance so far with James Toney. Again, I've seen him in the gym and wondered how much he really wanted it. Looks like he wants it now. Let's go back ringside to Bob and Teddy. Fellas?
All right, thanks. And Max will pass that along to James after the fight. He better not dare ever come into the ring out of shape because Max will come after.
Oh, you have to deal with Max.
No, but he made a good point, though, because, I mean, and Toney getting a little better shape. I mean, maybe not 197, maybe, you know, 193 or whatever it is. But, I mean, he's still got all the skills. And he is just basically toying with Adolpho Washington.
But let's make one point here before we anoint him, you know, the next Muhammad Ali. Toney's always been a terrific boxer, real solid technically, but he has a good foil in front of him. He's got a guy who's straight up, a guy who's real game in Adolpho Washington, but a guy who's not real hard to hit, a guy that fits the style of Toney real well. I mean, Toney has the perfect guy to execute against. All right. That is part of it. And speaking about lookalikes with Freddie Roach, how about Buddy Holly?
Yeah, you got that one, too. Another musician.
I got to be careful when I start talking about these lookalikes after that picture that was shown of me up on the screen earlier. I got to be a little careful.
I know where your son got his good looks from.
My son's much better looking than his pop. Much more talented.
That was a good picture.
Well, when you're young, everybody says it's cute, so you get away with one. Kind of like missing a punch and the guy don't hit you back.
Blood coming from the mouth of Washington. Mouthpiece lost again.
And right now, a lot of damage been done in that mouth. You can see the blood, both the nose and the mouth. Of course, in long fights, swallowing your blood can upset your stomach a little bit. Of course, that can affect the fight sometimes.
Remember Meldrick Taylor in 1990 against Julio Cesar Chavez, and the effects after the fight of all the blood that Meldrick Taylor had swallowed in that dramatic loss in the final 10 seconds of round 12.
Toney's able to do anything he wants. He should be on the outside, but the truth be told, he could fight on the inside with this guy because he's smart enough to do it. Even though he's not the bigger guy, when you're smart and you're clever, you don't let the guy take advantage of size. There goes the mouthpiece of Adolpho once again. You gotta wonder if it fits right or if maybe the cuts are not letting him keep his mouth closed. Right here, somebody's calling for an uppercut from Toney. They happen to be right because Adolfo's leaning forward a little bit. Just a second ago, no, she can pick it up, but Toney threw an uppercut. Adolpho dropped his hand to block it. Toney should fake the uppercut, bring it up top when a guy does that. Work on it. You talk about effective aggression, that's what you're talking about right now. Adolfo's the one who's aggressive, but he's not effective. Toney's the one who's doing all the clean punching in between.
Short right hand from Toney as well.
He's calm. He's able to throw those punches inside. Anything a little bit wide inside, Toney's able to throw right inside, or he's able to make a miss and then counter. One or the other. And right there, straight right hand, right inside that little bit of a left hook. He sees the hand down, he throws a sneaky hook. He's throwing nice short punches, Toney. Just what the doctor would order. You're inside, you want to keep your punches short because you don't want to leave yourself open for a counter.
So what you're saying is you can't change your oil every 3,000 miles because...
Next Friday night, August the 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern, as Friday Night Fights on the Deuce presents 1996 Olympian Eric Morrell out of Madison, Wisconsin, 21-0 with 15 knockouts. He'll be in action in a 12-round super flyweight bout plus Butterbean. And it all comes to you from our annual August stop, the Ohio State Fairgrounds. 9 p.m. Eastern. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network. Go.com. Well, James Toney and Adolpho Washington continue their 10-round affair. Round number 7 underway, and Toney in total control. You know what's amazing, too, Teddy, is that you mentioned he's very calm. He never loses his composure.
No, he's not. That's what happens when you've had all those fights he's had. Of course, he was a good amateur, too, so he's had plenty of experience.
You know, most of that last round took place right above us. And this entire row where we are seated is splattered in blood. You look like Candy King.
I sure do. And you were the smart one. You took your cardboard notes there and you put them up as a shield.
I tell you what, if people can get a shot of this press row right now, everybody has a piece of paper up and ready to block, even though the action's on the other side of the ring. Right hand from Washington, and again, Toney makes him miss.
And counters. That looked like a right hand landed from Adolpho Washington, but it really didn't. Toney put his shoulder up and deflected it with his shoulder. He's real good at that. He's good at riding those right hands. He just pulls back from right there. He'll pull back and he'll ride with it.
Teddy, you and I both having a shutout for Toney through 6.
You know who used to be good at riding those right hands and pulling back? Roberto Duran when he was younger. He was great at that. Like Toney, the guy who wasn't just tough, wasn't just aggressive. He was smart. That time the right hand might have gotten in a little bit. But most of them, Toney anticipates. He gets that shoulder.